Hello, listeners, and welcome to Push2 Plat Level Cap Episode 10, the only show interested in raising your own level and our own. Joe, let's smash the cap together. How are you doing today, sir?
Cj, we're always doing good over here.
Joe, I almost trapped myself in the opening there. I realized I was verbally linguisting myself out of that one. That's impressive. Look, it is sort of early in the morning here, but that's still no excuse. Now, Joe, we did miss last week because we did an episode of the main show with Lawless Llama. So I am very interested to see how many plats you're up to in this sort of 2 week span here. What are your numbers?
So, I hit level 56 yesterday morning, and I'm up to 314.
Wow. And you're only on 300. Was it like 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago?
Yeah, I believe I think when we did the show last week, I hit my 300th like literally right before it.
Yeah, yeah. Now, just in case we have a few listeners that are only interested in the short format of the show, and I know there are a few, you should definitely drop on us what Plat 300 was.
Leisure Suit Larry, Wet Dreams Don't Dry.
Excellent, excellent choice. Now, I think you're going to talk about it today, but you were telling me just before we started that you've actually found that there's a sale on the NA stack for this game too, isn't there, at the moment?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, we can get into
Yes.
that later. So, where does that put you in the US, in the world? What's going on?
So we just cracked the top 600 in the US and top 3,000 worldwide.
Now, I know we talked about this a month or two ago, but are you actually starting to notice a sizable slowdown now in climbing the boards?
Yeah, yeah, the worldwide ones or whatever, like when I would do, a couple of months ago I would move up like a couple thousand places like every week and stuff like that. Now it's down to like a couple hundred.
Yes. God, are the days of the 800 from earning one or two plats. I like it. So listeners, look, I've been busy, I think. So I've noticed that I've made a little bit of a typo here too. It must be early, but look, level 170, 1,038 plats. That's something, Joe. That's a lot of spam, I can tell you. And finally, I've abandoned my maiden position here. I'm now up into 67. Although I feel I'm going to be downward pressed again because all these people behind me are just going berserk. In fact, Joe, it's funny. A lot of the accounts just behind me are 100% accounts, so they leave no trophy, left behind. We'll try and hold on, listeners, for as long as possible. Now, Joe, we've been looking around. There are a lot of good sales on at the moment across all regions of the PSN store with this spring sale. Now, I believe you've done some digging here and you've produced a fantastic list of NA games on sale. Would you like to run our listeners through these?
Yeah, so I made two lists. I did a spam sale and then I did a not spam but fun and easy list as well.
What do we need with a not spam list? Are you going to play anything from that list?
Some of them, yes. Like I'm a big fan of A Plague Tale, Control, The Outer Worlds, Spider-Man is in there, which I have already. Leisure Suit Larry is in there again. I mean, like you might consider that spam because it's quick, but I really enjoyed it, so it's not spam to me.
Why don't we start with the spam list first then, and then we can dig into that other one as well.
Okay, so we got Waking Violet, Detective Gallo, Deployment, Erica, which also has a EU stack. You need to download an app to play that on your iPhone or Android device. I haven't done that yet. I haven't played one of those games yet. I don't know how they are. Wheels of Aurelia, which is like a text adventure driving game.
Oh,
Not a big fan of it, but it is easy.
have you played that on the Xbox, The Wheels of Aurelia?
I have.
That's the one where you
Yeah, I was
hold
not a fan.
you hold the X button down the whole time, or something like this to make the car go.
Yeah, it's like some of the playthroughs are like kind of picky in it or whatever, where it's like you're trying to drive and you have to go certain ways, and then you have to make certain dialogue choices while you're driving. And there's like one playthrough where you have to drive safe but also fast, I believe. I was not a fan of that game. It's easy. It's like 4 to 5 hours, but not for me. I wouldn't play it again.
The funny thing is when it came out on PlayStation, it was actually glitched. I think it maybe one of the stacks, perhaps both were glitched, and I remember at the time reaching out to the developers, the Italian developers, and they were really nice. They got back to me, and they're like, "Oh, you must be doing it wrong." And it was to do with unlocking all the cars, which I think was unlocking the endings, and they sent me a list of the cars, and I said, "Yeah, look, I know I'm missing this one, and I just can't it just wouldn't unlock it." It was a back and forth for ages, and I from memory, it took weeks and then they did patch it. So I know it is attainable now, but for a time there, that game, yeah, it was very frustrating for one or two of those cars, and then it's all good now. Sorry to interrupt. Let's keep going.
No, it's fine. We got Bear With Me, which is a point and click, I believe. Rise of
Mhm.
Insanity. I don't know how that is on the PlayStation version, but I know the Xbox version is kind of a mess where like achievements won't pop and you have to play the game again. Luckily, it's only 30 minutes long.
High level jank.
Yeah, it's like a I think it's a VR game on PC and then they ported it to console without the VR. At least that's how it is on the Xbox. It might use VR on the PlayStation. I didn't really like too deep dive on that. I just knew it was kind of easy because I played it on the Xbox One and Maka has a really good guide for it as well where he explains that it doesn't work well. We got Edna and Harvey, Intruders Hide and Seek, Silence, the Deponia collection. Chaos and Deponia has an EU stack as well. That's about it.
Pretty good. That's a pretty good list to start with. Now, what about this not spam but still fun easy list? I like the look of this list now that I've actually read it.
So we got the Return to Arkham collection. That's actually really cheap for two pretty quality games. The first one is much easier than the second because the DLC in the second one, those trials kind of suck. Uncharted Lost Legacy, A Way Out. I don't know. Have you played that?
I have, yeah. Have you played that yet or not?
I have played it on the Xbox. I have not played it on the PlayStation.
So there's an interesting story about that game because obviously it's a co-op game, an online co-op game that you can play. And I know it was the case at launch. I'm sure it's still the case where if you buy a copy, then your friend can play with you. But I know on the PlayStation that your friend wouldn't earn the trophies unless they own a copy of the game. But they could subsequently get the copy later and it would sort of unlock. But if you do it legit, it's about 6 hours. I think it's quite worth playing. But there is a method I understand now where you can do it in an hour or something, like a workaround method. I believe there's a guide on that as well. So it can be very quick if you want it to be.
That's something I'm actually going to have to look into.
Mm.
Also, all the Borderlands games. One of you guys should totally carry me through all of these.
I was wondering, I have Borderlands 3 downloaded. It's a massive download, so I'm tempted to delete it, other than the fact that I know it would take months to get back again for the space. And I keep in the back of my mind going, I wonder if Joe will ever play this game with me. But you're looking for a carry too, so I think we're both screwed.
Yeah, I have all of them like already. So if any of our listeners want to play and kind of carry both of us through it, more than welcome to. Bunch of Lego games on sale: Lego Avengers, Lego Marvel 2, Lego Lord of the Rings. There's the Lego Marvel collection, which I just bought on disc from Amazon. Comes with Lego Marvel, Lego Marvel 2, and Lego Avengers, and all the season passes. If you're in the US, it's $15 on Amazon for the disc copy. And maybe if GameStop ever opens back up, you can recoup some trade value for it. Trover Saves the Universe. I don't know if you've played that. I played a little bit of it.
That's a game that you can play in VR or also not in VR if you want. So you don't have to have VR, but it's a fun game with one really obnoxious trophy. Or achievement? Are you familiar with that one, Joe?
No, I only played a little bit of it on the PS4, and I just bought it on the Xbox because it was part of their sale last week.
Yeah, it's super fun game. The humor is off the wall or whatever else. But and I played it actually in disclosure. I played it on PS4, not in VR, so I preferred that. But there is a trophy for throwing. It's like a piece of rubbish, if you like a rubbish ball or whatever paper. You just scrunch it up there, and you have to throw it into a basket. And score a hoop through the hoop if you like in basketball or something. But the problem is the ball is hugely janky, so you throw it and it just goes off at any angle and you have to do this like I want to say 100 times, but it might even be more than 100, and it takes hours. It's just so I think it's one of these things that's just pointing fun at trophy hunters or achievement hunters and how stupid it is, and it's really frustrating. So I look forward to hearing how you find that if you do go for the completion on this game.
I feel like I did that.
Yes, I mean you might be gifted at it.
Are you talking about the b-ball and the b-ball hole?
Yeah.
That's like the second trophy I unlocked in the game.
Well, so you're natural. Your spam characteristics are very high though compared to the average gamer. So, you have a lot of skill in this area.
it's because we play the basketballs here and you guys don't do it as much.
Ah, okay. But it does go random, I think. I've watched basketball and tried to play it. It doesn't go that random in real life, I think. Okay, moving on next.
Okay, so we got the Crash trilogy and the Spyro trilogy. I love those games, and they have 3 plats each. So Gravel, which is
Mm,
about 15-ish hours. I love those milestone racing games like Gravel, Ride, Ducati. I'm a big fan of those just because like I could just kind of like put them on, and I like racing games because like they help me relax and stuff like that. Because I usually set them on the easiest difficulty and just kind of sit there and just
yeah.
it's stress free to me. Also, the new grid is super cheap if you're a Plus member. It has that really kind of shitty trophy where you have to navigate the circumference of the Earth, but it's a fun game. It's another one that I like.
Funny thing with that is that it's been dropping if you buy now. I'm not sure if the base game's on sale or the one with the season pass is on sale, or they both are, but you don't need the season pass to platinum the game. But in it, they promised, much like Ride 3, that they were going to drop these, episodes, if you like, or race series. And they have been dropping them, but none of them have had trophies up until now. And they've dropped these 3 seasons as of the other day of recording, listeners, so you can play them now, just have 3 trophies each. They're predominantly time trials. None of them are difficult or whatever else. So you can, if you are interested in 100% completion, you would need the season pass now to get those. Although I believe you can buy them individually. That's what you have to check the prices. But I read that someone, Joe, had played the whole game, done all the extra episodes without achievements, and then also done these new 3, and they still had only reached 10% of the required miles.
Yeah, that one's a little rough. Hmm,
Really rough.
yeah, they just put a
Mm.
tracker in it. I believe for it as well. My favorite, Leisure Suit Larry, Spider Man, the new Plants vs Zombies, Battle for Neighborville. I don't know if you played the other games, but my buddy Chad and I had a lot of fun with them, especially the original one.
This one also has an obnoxious trophy where you have to master level every character, which there are some workarounds, but a lot of them have been patched, or they're sort of patched. That if you have a turbo controller, you can somewhat take advantage of it. But that aside, I've played this game. I think it's really good. For me, it's a big improvement. The open world is massive. There's more, and it does have. I don't think the trophy list is great overall, but it's fine, for what it is. But the game is. I would highly recommend it, especially if it's at a good price. That's fantastic.
Yeah, Amazon has the Xbox One version for $10 right now.
That's a really good price. There's a ton of gameplay in
Yeah,
that game.
yeah, it's really fun or whatever. And I've noticed that there's a lot of scrubby little kids that are like not good at the game. So like, if you're somewhat experienced at playing multiplayer games or whatever, you just like run roughshod through them.
That's true, but you can do some of the garden defense missions or whatever you do there in 4 player. You can, on the hardest levels, you can sometimes luck into a group of like pro players, and it's pretty serious. The guys that are good at it, so there is a great mix for sure.
I already mentioned a Plague Tale. I'm a big fan of that game just because it has a different feel. Strange Brigade, I feel, is very, very underrated. It's a really fun co-op game. There's the Hitman HD double pack. I know one of our listeners was talking about how he likes Hitman the other day. Don't remember who it was, but that has Blood Money and Absolution in it. That one's only $18. And then we got Outer Worlds, which everybody should play if you like Fallout. It's a more fun, colorful Fallout New Vegas type game. With some more humor in it, and it's actually good.
Ouch.
And we should totally support Obsidian so I could get more good Xbox games from them.
Long live the Xbox. That's right. Yes,
And
Obsidian.
then we got Control and Doom.
Yeah, you've played Control though, haven't you, on Xbox?
I have played a little bit of it. I got the Steelbook edition
Oh,
from Best Buy. The map in that game is a lot of people really like that game, and like I feel very lost in the map.
yeah, yeah. I mean it's a phenomenal game. That is one of the flaws. One of the funny things now, they've dropped the first expansion, and look, it's really difficult. It's there's no two ways about it. It's hard, and what is hard about this game is that there's a bit of a learning curve to start with. In switching your weapons and skills and things like this. So once you've been playing for a bit, you pick it up. But of course, if you played the game months ago and now you're jumping back into that expansion, it just carries straight on. So it expects you to be at the same skill level and knowledge level, and it's tough. So mean, now is a great time to start this game because you can play it. It's not that long, and then move straight into the expansion. And I also believe that the skill points from the expansion, I'm not 100% sure on this. I've not done it myself, listeners, but they do carry across to the base game trophy. So that will, in effect, give you more skill points. It will make it easier to unlock that trophy. It's still relatively easy anyway with the secrets, but it makes it even easier. So it could be a good time, Joe, to maybe 350. I don't know.
Does the Japan stack have that DLC as well?
Yeah, it does. The problem is it's a season pass, so you're buying the season pass or the deluxe edition separate. Yeah.
Mm, okay.
That's it's a lot, isn't it? Well, look, listeners, I'll throw out the Hong Kong store, and there's some really good deals here, Joe. They're all sort of these Rata and Lightwood games and things like this here. So sort of you're looking at around 20 to 30 HK, which is it's only a couple of bucks really. And you've got all the classics here, listeners. All of these, of course, are plats. They're all separate stacks from the EU and NA. So we have Toy Tanks, Bird Game Plus, Daggerhood, Devious Dungeon, 50 Words, Foxyland 1 2, Hero Trials, Metagal, Mix Ups, Perils of Baking, which not a rattle-like again. That little disclaimer that it's a little bit trickier than the others, perhaps if you haven't played it. It's also a separate stack to the combined EU NA stack. Red Bow, there's a variety of pick a picks games, Joe. I don't know, there were too many to name. Syrup and the Ultimate Suite, Tetra Escape, Warlock's Tower, Word Sudoku, 000, Bouncy Bullets, Siberian the Time Traveling Warrior, and Captain Cat. Again, not a rat game. A little bit longer, 3 to 5 hours, maybe slightly skill dependent. It's sort of like one of those fish hook pick a price type games or whatever else. Yeah, a little bit of skill or whatever, but it's not too bad. And I mean, at those prices, Joe, you could save a fortune if you haven't got any of those games already at that price. So I think that's fantastic. And then there does seem, as Joe mentioned, he likes the racing games. There does seem to be an undercurrent of heavily discounted racing games across all the spring sales. And I pulled out this one. Again, this is probably only more for the hardcore racing people, but MXGP 2019. This is the latest MXGP game. Of course, there is a new one coming later this year. It's on sale at 65% off for 137 Hong Kong dollars. Just to put that into perspective, it's around 49 US or 99 Australian at the moment on the store. So that's actually a pretty decent price. No, it has come on sale a couple of times, but not often. There is potentially one glitchy trophy in that game if it does interest you, though. It's worth checking out. So that's it's already a stack of games there, Joe. But why don't we actually go now into the games that we want to talk about this week that we've been playing? And I'm gonna throw it to you.
Okay, so I did this week on the Xbox. Unfortunately, it doesn't work on the PS4, but Surviving Mars has a little fantastic mod system included in it on the Xbox One and on Windows 10, where you enable two mods and you can get the full 1,000 gamer score in less than 5 minutes if you have a Game Pass subscription, so you don't have to buy it. Yeah, there is 500 gamer score worth of DLC. In order to get the DLC achievements,
Mhm.
you do have to buy the game, like the two DLC packs. The season pass was $35 normally, but this week it was on sale for just under $22. So I bought both versions of it. And they pulled the mod at first or whatever, and then they let it back on the store because I think they saw how much money they were making. Because I definitely gave them like 44 of my dollars to get the full 3,000 gamer score in it. But yeah, you just enable the two mods. You set up a Paradox account, which is the studio that made the game, and just all 70 achievements pop right away.
That's exciting. And so the base game though is included in the Game Pass then. So for the 1,000.
The base, you could either get 2,000 or 3,000 gamer score with literally no effort.
Mm.
And usually this is it takes like 5 minutes for them all to pop, and this is usually a 100 to 120 hour game.
Sounds like Gwen will be busy this weekend. Now, I did want to ask you though that it definitely works, doesn't it? Because I saw a YouTube video saying how to do it, and then it was later amended saying they'd taken it down, but it is back again now.
Yes, it is back up.
I like that one. Good. Well, look, I've got a little bit of something secret. Well, not secret, a little bit nasty, I suppose, listeners. This Battle Rockets. Now, this is a Vita only game. It is available on the NA or the EU store, around 10 in America, I think around 14 or 15 in Australia. Just the one stack. Look, it has 12, Joe, we like this. It has 12 trophies here, 11 of them gold. It can be done very quickly if you're good at these sort of games, maybe 20 minutes. If you're not, well less than an hour. It's an arcadey style game. It has perhaps, Joe, one of the worst menu systems I've seen in a long time. Enjoyable all around, Basically, it splits the Vita into two, if you like. So the left hand side and the right hand side for the sticks. If you're playing one player, you're only using the left hand, the D pad, and the analog stick there. So there are 8 different mini games, if you like, of varying degrees of difficulty. I found that they were all pretty easy, except for challenge number 3. Took me probably 10 minutes or so just on that challenge. All the other challenges can take a minute or less, pretty much. My tip for this would be that if you play it, you normally play the Vita obviously horizontal. It's actually better to play this with the Vita vertical, upright. Now, of course, the characters are still horizontal, but you can still see. It then plays more like a shoot 'em up. If you like a vertical shoot 'em up. The work it just seems to be a lot better. There also seems to be an area of safety if you hug the bottom of the screen, particularly the left hand side bottom. Most of the enemies can't get you there. Sometimes they can, but overall they can't. If you're looking for more specifics on the challenges, there is a wonderful trophy guide at Knopf's Trophy Guides there that explain it. But it's very straightforward. You play those 8 challenges, and then there are 3 multiplayer. Now, of course, it's local multiplayer. As I said, the Vita switcher, breaks into two, if you like, the 2 sides. Now, you only need one person to do these because 2 of the multiplayer trophies involve player 1 winning, so player 2 does nothing. And then one of the multiplayer trophies involves a tie, which just means that neither of you do anything. So, as I said, a very easy, quick, spammy completion, but only available. Oh, no, sorry, it is available on the NA and the EU. So, what else do you have for us, Joe?
Okay, so Machinarium came out this week, which was a PS3 and Vita game a long time ago. I played a little bit of it back in the day. I don't remember why I stopped playing it, but it is a 100% game. It doesn't have a plat. I feel like I might have had an issue with like the point and click system where like something didn't pop up and I was playing them both side by side. And then I think like one I had an issue and then like I didn't feel like starting it over. But it did come out on the PS4 and the Xbox One this week. And it's also in Game Pass for PC, but no achievements unfortunately. But it's about a 1 to 2 hour completion. It has a lot of praise for its art style as well.
I've never played this game. I actually think I own it. I can see it in my mind, but I don't think I've ever played it.
I think it was a PS Plus game
That's why.
back in the day for the PS3, and I believe it was cross buy as well, so that's how I have it on the Vita because I used to have PlayStation Plus. Because I would not spend $15 on no easy 100% game. I want the most bang for my buck as
Yeah,
possible.
yeah. It's funny because I haven't played the PS3 in like over a year. I'm pretty sure it doesn't even work anymore. But I looked at it the other day and I was like, now would be the good time to turn it on and see if it even goes anymore. If something falls out of it or falls off it or something. But I just think it's too much, Joe. I think I've just left it behind.
I just cleaned mine recently as well. It's been in storage forever, and like it just came out, and I was having issues like playing Megamind because I started that and never finished it. So I traded my copy in a long time ago, and I rebought it because GameStop had like a buy two get two free sale on cheap games, and I know that's one I didn't finish, so I grabbed it, and I grabbed like some other games that I like Batman, and I got Dante's Inferno again. I'm a big fan of that game.
Well, it's funny because in the back of my mind, one of the last games I bought for PS3 was this heavy fire Afghanistan. Is that the right one? Heavy fire, the first one anyway, the first one. And I,
Yes.
I played that obviously on the PS3 with the move controllers. And look, it's a great cheese with the move controllers because with one person, if you have 4 move controllers, maybe you can use normal controllers, I forget, but the more controllers you have, the easier it gets because you can bring them in and then they draw the fire and you finish the levels even easier. But there was a Japanese stack of that game, and I remember buying it at the time, and it's disgraceful, but I actually never played it. And I know that I have it, so I should one day. We'll see. We'll see. Now would be the best time you would think, but anyway, because you mentioned gravel, Joe, I thought I'd throw it out there. It's a bit longer, listeners, than what you'd be used to hearing me talk about here. But I thought it would be good to throw out because I think it's $8, Joe, on the NA store with that sale, which is just crazy for the amount of gameplay you get. As Joe said, it's 12 to 15 hours. It's there are 2 online trophies, but it only involves finishing 1 race and then 10 races. I imagine it would be incredibly dead at this point, so you would need to boost that. But as I said, it's very easy and quick. The overall game is really easy and quick for a racing game. It's highly arcadey as well. But graphically, it's fine or whatever. It does jitter and stutter a little bit, but there's nothing there's nothing major there. It is a good mix of surfaces. It's very slippery on the ice tracks and the snow tracks for some reason, but once you get used to the drift on those tracks, it is quite easy or whatever. There is one really difficult trophy, Joe. This trophy, in fact, was glitched for it wasn't glitched and then it was glitched for some time, but no one really realized it was glitched for months. And so everyone wondered why they couldn't get it because it's such a random trophy. And then they fixed it. Now it does work, but it's still something you'll get naturally or you just won't get at all. And it'll take many tries. And it's the like a train trophy or achievement where you need to keep the high speed bonus for 40 seconds. Now, supposedly, when they did patch it the last time, they did make it easier to sustain that. But what that involves is reaching a certain speed, max speed, and then holding that speed for 40 seconds. Now, you'd say, well, that should be fine, but your wheels all four wheels have to be on the ground for that bonus to continue counting up. So you hit like a little rock or something and one wheel lifts off, the bonus resets. So you basically have to drive almost very straight or plane into the corners at a big angle so that you're not in any way losing speed. There are some good videos on how to do it on the first track. There are a couple of track options. But as I said, you'll either get that, in your natural playthrough or it's going to take a few goes. But that's the only trophy of massive difficulty. There is a bit of a grind. The game you can probably finish in 8 to 9 hours, but then grinding to level 100 to unlock all the car skins is the grind in this game. But there is DLC for this game as well, DLC episodes that there are no trophies for. So if you don't have to, you can just manipulate a couple of the races to earn maximum show points or XP. But if you're just playing for the game, you can do all these bonus episodes, and that will help you get to 100 as well. So if you're looking for a fun arcadey racer for $8, Joe, I can't see anything better at the moment on any of the stores. That's a fantastic pickup. What next?
Okay, so on the Xbox and PlayStation stores, they just released a whole bunch of NES classics. There's a pretty fair amount of them.
Hmm.
The Xbox is a little bit more friendlier, actually a lot more friendly in the gamer score department than the trophies. So some of the games on the PS4 have like 3 bronze trophies, which is 45 XP, and that's it. And then some are like the on the lower level of the 100% tier with like the 285. But the Xbox ones, because they have like specific rules in place where every game has to have 1,000 gamer score, those games that have the 3 or the 4 trophies, because they all have 4 trophies on the PlayStation, it's just a matter of how much value they have. They had to add some achievements to get them on the Xbox. So they added 6 achievements for kind of meddling around with the in-game settings. So you can, yeah, they're all $5. And you can get a very, very easy 600 gamer score for literally doing nothing. And with how many there are, you can literally get like almost 11,000 gamer score in like minutes. It's also $90, but
Well, once again, it may be a better pickup on the Xbox side there for those gamer score points. And look, the last one I'll throw at your listeners is Glass Masquerade 2. I don't know if you came across the first version of this game, Joe, the Glass Masquerade. It's a very easy plat or 100% completion on the Xbox, a couple of hours. It predominantly because you could play in easy mode and you could have hints on. In the second version, you have to play in hard mode. Now, there is a form of hints in that it'll help you with the first 4 or so pieces around the edge, but that is all. So look, you are looking at longer. I think it depends on how good you are. It's taking me around 20 minutes a puzzle. I'm not particularly good at these though. Some of these it will potentially get longer as the puzzles get bigger. Now, my suggestion or my tip would be if you are going to play this game, so you're potentially, I'm going to put that out there, maybe 10 to 15 hours, but potentially for this game, although quite enjoyable, very relaxing. There are 31 puzzles that you have to play. What I'd suggest is there is a fantastic picture guide by the Welsh Hunter on YouTube. Basically, what he does is he just shows you how each of the pictures will look at completion, and it's all time stamped. That will help you. I mean, it's not going to solve it for you by any stretch. Because it's hard to, the colors are a bit wild at times, but it definitely does help knowing what you're trying to create at least, rather than going in blind. Now, Joe, because we didn't record last week, we're a little bit behind on the Rata Plat of the week. Shall we? Shall we start now? Have you played both of these ones now? The Rush Rover.
Rush Rover I played twice, I believe, and Blind Men I have done twice as well.
Good. Okay. Well, let me throw you the setup here. Of course, the code's provided by the developer, so take that as you wish, listeners. So Rush Rover, developed by Indie Nova and Radio. It's a 2D top-down shooter, similar to traditional shooter ups. Does have random map generation, so a guide here is of limited use to you. Although I don't think you need one. We'll find out what you think, Joe. And a rogue-like gameplay, but very like rather than rogue. So how'd you find it, Joe?
Rush Rover. At first, I was having a little bit of an issue with the dodge mode, but like because I played it on the PS4, you said it is much easier on the Vita, I believe.
Yeah, it just doesn't populate many enemies, I found, so, yeah.
I had some fun with it. It took me like a little bit to kind of like figure out and like, I mean, like I'm going in like guns blazing at first or whatever, and like trying to get all these trophies and stuff like that. But like you have to be kind of like conservative and like stay to the back. But I mean, like for how quick it was, I mean, like I enjoyed it, and
No, look, I agree. I thought it was quite enjoyable as well. It's look, it's a 20-minute plat or something, 15 potentially if you're good at this or you know what you're doing. Game breaks up into 2 halves. So the main part of the game, if you like, is completing 5 levels in the time limit and also without getting hit. That'll award you all the trophies on those lines. If for some reason you don't complete one of the levels in the time or you do get hit, there are many more levels. So you can keep going. Now, Joe, I noticed that many of the guides say that you need to do it in one run. I'm not sure because I died at one point and then did 3 levels of another and did get it, but then that didn't work on the other region stack. So I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it was just lucky. There are some trophies just for killing a number of the enemies, but that will happen naturally. And then one of the sort of bosses, which will happen naturally at the end. Obviously, just keep in mind if you do die on that boss, then it does reset back to, but it's only a few minutes to get there. And then the other part of the game, Joe, look, I enjoyed it. It's like a bullet hell dodger. I don't know if you enjoyed that, but you only needed to survive for 45 seconds, which was very fair, I thought.
yeah, the dodge mode was like a little rough at times because it's like kind of random too, and it's just like yeah, like you could just be like very prepared for what's coming at you, or just like very not prepared at all.
Yeah, but I mean that's a good point. It is random, so if you die, you might get longer on the next go or the subsequent goes. And I do like those things on the Vita just because it's a smaller screen, and again, it populates less. I think less of those bullets, so it makes it easier. And then the second one, Joe. Look, I know you're going to be all over this. I know you're going to have loved it. The Blind Man, developed by Maneater Games. This is a VN. We're back. This is the second VN installment or port, if you like. What do you think?
Keep making more of those. Keep bringing them over.
You, don't they, lined up, coming up, and it's good to
Yeah.
see they're all gonna be like this format. We this is even quicker, I think, than the previous one, the syrup one, isn't it?
Yeah, this one's about 7 minutes, and the syrup one is about 10, give or take.
Yeah.
Have you played this on the Vita yet? Because I have not.
Oh, look, I was actually gonna ask you how does it run on the Vita because I know that was an issue with the other one, but
Yeah, the other one was really sluggish and slow on the Vita. I haven't had a chance to try this one yet. I did download it,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
so
well, this week, and we can let you know, listeners. But yeah, look, what I like about this one too is you don't need any save manipulation. You're actually better just to run each of the stories. They only take a few minutes in skip or whatever. If you're interested in reading, it has 2 romanceable characters. In disclosure, I've only skim read it. I'll probably will read it on the Vita. It's still gonna be quite short or whatever. It's a sort of a spy drama or something. So yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else we need to say about that, Joe? Other than that's an easy 4 plats there.
yeah, for now until the other two versions come out.
Yeah, it's funny. I've actually been going because I'm well behind on the spam or whatever, and I've been going through, and it's just amazing. Like I've been getting 3 plats or 2 or 3 plats a day, an hour's gaming or whatever. Most of these are on Vita, admittedly. I was behind on the different regions on the Vita, but it's just crazy, isn't it? These last couple of months, I can see why you're earning so many trophies so quickly.
Yes.
So, look, why don't we move across here, listeners, to what we're going to waste our money on this week? Obviously, desperate times and desperate measures, but games are slowing down here, Joe. But is there anything you have your eye on coming up?
Not really right now. I think we're kind of hit that dead point where stuff is getting delayed and nothing's really coming. Oh, SpongeBob! SpongeBob comes out in June.
I did not know
Battle
that.
for Bikini Bottom.
Is that for consoles or?
Yes.
Look, I'll definitely be adding that to my list. I didn't know. For myself here, listeners, yeah, look, Joe's right. It is definitely slowing down. Although it's a wonderful thing that it is slowing down because we finally have time to go back. I'm deep in the world of Persona 5, so I really don't have time for anything else. But two things of note: the MotoGP 20 is dropping next week, and Trials of Mana. I don't know. Is there anything else you want to throw out there, Joe? It feels like we've dumped a lot of information in this episode. I'm happy. So look, why don't we draw the line there, listeners? Look, I hope you are smashing it as well. Look, if you are, why don't you drop some platinum pictures in the Push2 Plat Platinum Club on the PS4? Or if that's too difficult, jump into Discord. It'll be in the show notes, and you can post your picture there. Of course, Push2 Plat Level Cap is the sideshow for the main show, Push2 Plat. If you haven't listened to it, come and join us. It was a wonderful episode last week with Cool Kid Joe and Llama. We discussed a whole manner of things, including gaming Easter eggs. So, if the listeners are trying to find you, Joe, where can they do so?
So I am Cool Kid Joe on PlayStation and on Xbox, and I am at Cool Kid Joe XBL on the Twitters.
Perfect. If you're trying to find the show, obviously it's on all good podcast providers. You can reach out to us at push2plat, the number 2, on Twitter, or push2plat at Gmail, or jump in the Discord. It'll be in the show notes. And I'd like to leave a little message at the end of this episode. Thank you, PSN random likers. You have reached a new level. I logged on yesterday to find that I had 31. I thought it was 17, but 31 likes across a slew of games. So, look, I appreciate you, and I will continue to randomly like your games as well. So until next week, may the plats continue to fly. May the gamer score increase. May your like level explode. Thank you, Joe.
Later.